In this video, what we're going to be doing is to implement S3 security and lifecycle management. We'll create an S3 bucket, update files into the bucket or a file, and then we're going to secure the bucket by allowing access only by an IAM user using an IAM policy. We're also going to be setting a lifecycle rule that transitions the object in the bucket to another storage class, and after a period of time expires and deletes that file automatically. Logged into our AWS management console, so search for the S3 service, click on buckets, then we'll click on create bucket. So let's give this bucket a name. So let's name it S3 secure bucket. So let's give it this name, and let's proceed to leave every other settings or as they are in their default, right? So ensure you know the region you're in. So we're in North Virginia, so leave every other thing the way they are, then create the bucket. So we have created this bucket. The next thing we're going to do now is to secure this bucket. So for us to secure this bucket, let's go to the permission tab of this bucket. So let's click into the bucket. We are now in the bucket. What we want to do now is to secure the bucket. So click on permission. Then in the bucket settings, we're going to ensure that we block public access to this bucket. So we're going to block public access to this bucket. So click on this edit public access to ensure that this is toggled on, right? And all these are also ticked. So we tick this, everything is toggled on, and then save changes. So what this does is it ensures that no one can access this bucket using the URL. So even if the URL is shared and someone tries to access the bucket from the browser, it won't be accessible. So this secures our bucket. Next thing we're going to do now, we're going to enable bucket encryption. So to enable bucket encryption, we go under the default encryption, and then we're going to enable server-side encryption. So let's go there. So let's go to the properties tab, and we scroll down and find default encryption. So we edit the default encryption, then enable server-side encryption with Amazon S3 managed keys SSE S3. So enable that, bucket key enabled. So click on save changes. Ensure that those are enabled, right? Next thing we're going to do, we're going to edit the bucket policy, right? So come back to the permissions tab, and then scroll down, find the bucket policy. So we're going to edit this bucket policy. We're going to add our own policy, right? So what we're going to be adding is we're going to be denying access to this bucket via any other means, and then allow only access to a particular user, specifying the account ID and then the bucket, that's the resource. The resource is the bucket that it can be accessed, right? So let's copy this bucket policy here. We're going to be using this bucket policy. It has everything we want here. So let's use this. Let's copy it. Then take it back here. So let's have it here. So this is policy we're going to be using. So it has the version here. It has a statement. And then it allows account user only, and then denies every other access to this bucket. Then it specifies the resource that is to be accessed, which is our S3 secure bucket, and the condition string is, so So this is the ID, account ID, that is to be allowed. So to clear this error, I think we have this version and statement duplicated here. So let's remove one. And now there are no more errors. So save the changes. So our bucket policy has been entered correctly and it has been saved. Right, so the next thing we're going to be doing here, we're going to upload a file. So let's go back to the object, then let's upload a file. So upload file. So we have this, the name of this file here is 1 and it's a JPEG file. So let's upload this file into the bucket and then let's click on upload. So this file has been successfully uploaded into our bucket, right? The next thing we're going to be doing now, we're going to enable bucket versioning. We're going to enable versioning for this bucket, right? So let's come over to the properties section and find bucket versioning, edit it, and then enable bucket versioning. One thing to note is when you have enabled bucket versioning, you can't stop it, you can only suspend it. So let's enable bucket versioning for this particular bucket. So this bucket can have different versions, right? So after doing this, now we're going to re-upload another file, but with the same name. Note now, there's only one version of this file here. So even if you click on show versions, you still see only one. So let's upload another file. So it's like we are editing our file. This was the one we used and the name is 1. So let's use another one with the same name. So if it's a code, for example, after making changes to your code or any other type of file. So let's re-upload. So instead of seeing it like 2 files, we see it like 1 file of 2 different versions, right? So since we have versioning enabled, on this object now you can only see 1 because the file is the same, has the same name. When you click on show versions, you see there are 2 different versions of this file, right? So we have enabled bucket versioning. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to want to set a lifecycle management rule for this bucket. So we're going to set transition, we're going to set expire, and we're going to set to delete the expired bucket files. So in the lifecycle, we're going to create a lifecycle rule. So let's give this lifecycle rule a name. So let's just name it Lifecycle Rule 1. So let's give it a prefix and just name it expire. And now we want to set transition. So click on this to transition from one storage class to another within a period of time. We also want to expire version objects. I also want to permanently delete non-current versions. So let's tick these 3 and then let's tick the acknowledge. So we want to transition from standard to standard IA, infrequent access, after 30 days. Note that it can't be less than 30 days. A minimum of 30 days is required before transitioning. We're going to set the expiration to 365 days. And then the permanently delete, we're also going to set 365 days. Number of newer versions to retain, let's retain 2 minimums. So we can review it here. After 30 days of uploading the file, object moves to standard infrequently accessed. After 365 days, the object expires, and after 365 days, the object is deleted. So let us create this rule. So this rule has been created. Next thing we're going to do, we have done all the settings. So let us test first of all, let us test the security. So to test the security of this bucket, let's go back to the bucket. This is the bucket, right? So let's test the security of this bucket by trying to access it from the URL. So let's go to this, the file in this bucket. Let's copy the object URL. Then let's paste it in a new tab. Let's paste it here, then try to access it. So as you can see, access is denied because we have set a security not to allow access into this bucket from any other source apart from a particular IAM user. So our security is set and it's working, right? So I've tested. So now, we give permission to a particular user. So let's test the access of that user from the CLI. So let's click on Cloud Shell here. So let's try to access it from the command line interface. So let's have more view of this. Let me scroll this up. So we are now in the Cloud Shell trying to access the file in that particular bucket from the user that we gave permission to, if this user is able to access. So let's key in this command, AWS S3 list S3 // so the name of our bucket, S3 secure bucket, S3 secure bucket. So you see, you can access the file. It gives you the file name, the time of upload, and the file format. So all our settings are working as set, which is good. So we have been able to implement this S3 security and lifecycle management. So I've been able to implement S3 security and lifecycle management. Thank you very much. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and come again.